Hey guys, Ponce here, and today I thought I'd do something slightly new. Just sort of do well, basically a kind of history of League of Legends thing, and sort of combine it into a what if like this old stuff still existed in the game. Today's Innervating Locket. For you guys who were around until I believe it was the what was a champion called? Snake Lady, or Cassiopeia. The Cassiopeia patch, this item was taken out. So this is season one, possibly preseason. Whatever it was a long time ago, years ago, in fact. So there's this item called Innervating Locket. Like I said, those of you guys who were around back then remember what this is, I'm sure. And for those of you guys who are not around and have never heard of it, well, basically this is the stats here. I just found, some page or a picture of it. This is all the stats as you can see. Affects 430 health, 450 mana, built out of a catalyst and a mana manipulator. And this is pretty standard stuff here. Unique nearby allies, there's regen on it and mana regen on it. That's standard. Health cooldown reduction, also pretty standard, although it works extremely well when you consider the unique passive. When you use an ability, you regenerate 50 health and 20 mana over 2 seconds. This effect has a 3-second cooldown. Some of you guys might be seeing why this game, or why this item was removed from the game. In a second, we're going to talk about, since this item was taken out of the game, a lot of interesting champions have been released. I'm going to talk about what this item would be completely absurd on nowadays. But just a little math behind the thing. The main problem with this item, the number one problem that people sort of clued onto fairly quickly, was the Udyr. Udyr was the main problem in Innervating Locket. You guys might remember there was an old, it was sort of a lore exhibition match thing that Riot did on stream. It was Noxus versus Ionia, and Guardsman Bob, famous for his Udyr play way back in the day, built Innervating Locket, and just kind of, for those who weren't already aware of the absurdity of this item, built Innervating Locket on Udyr and proceeded, if I recall correctly, to tank the entire team inside their base for about 10 minutes, and just they couldn't get rid of him. And obviously his team won. So Ionia won, and that's why those boots exist, the Ionian boots. Because Ionia won, they introduced that item. If Noxus had won, I don't know what item they would have introduced into the game. Probably something that's already in game, and they just named it something different. But yeah, the math behind this item is basically, while it's up, you have 250 or 125 HP 5. But of course, it can't do that because it can only be up 2 seconds every 3 seconds. But when you math that all out, what it essentially equates to is 38.33 HP per 5, and then if you add in the 20 HP for 5 it already gives, you basically have 103 HP 5. And depending on the champion, you can have that up all the time. And of course, I'm not going to math out the mana for you, but basically every single spell you cast costs 20 less mana is what this essentially means. So it kind of negates the importance of any kind of mana management or anything. Now, just for comparison's sake, to get that kind of HP 5 today, what you would need was, I just did some nice easy numbers, so this is going to be slightly higher than the figures, but imagine Garen with 5,000 HP, his passive plus Warmogs, out of combat he gets 100 or 50 HP per 5. So instantly he gets a hit, that goes away, but and you're not going to see Garen with 5,000 HP particularly often. I kind of sort of clued into this item really towards the end of it, so I didn't get to abuse it too much, but I remember using it way back in the day. You could do tank Gragas, that was kind of a thing, and I built it on tank Gragas, and it was pretty funny. I did the same thing as Guardsman Bob. I just sat in the enemy base and no one could kill me, and I just tank everyone. I don't remember if this item would count form switching as an ability. So I'm not sure if Nidalee actually got the benefit from it. I think she did, but I'm not sure. Now, if she did, that means Jace and Elise could also abuse this in sort of modern times. I don't know if it'd be ideal on either of them. Probably Elise more so than Jace, but at the very least, Jace would have an infinite source of mana and healing as well. I think Hecarim could probably do something very similar to Udyr. We just all you have to do is get some CDR, and his Rampage is on a 4-second CDR, if I recall correctly. It's something really close to 4 seconds. So any CDR on him at all, and he's just going to be rampaging all the time. And then combine that with his health drain aura thing that he does, or the healing aura thing that he does. Hecarim would I can see him being exceptionally hard to kill if he just gets really tanky. Malphite was around back in the day. I don't really recall people abusing this on Malphite too much. I'm sure people were. It seems like he'd be quite good with any kind of CDR. I know his cooldowns are a bit longer, but get some CDR, you could probably get it pretty quickly. Modern day Nasus would be a nightmare to deal with this item. His Siphoning Strike is on a 4-second cooldown, so you get any kind of CDR, he's just going to be going Q, 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 and just giving everyone the stick. And you'd never be able to kill him because he just have continuous health regen, and he's getting life back from his innate lifesteal if he didn't get any aside from that. And he might even get Spirit Visage, which would make things even more aggravating, because Spirit Visage would further increase the 100 HP, essentially the 100 HP 5 from this by a further 20%. I don't know if people played AD Nidalee back in the day, AD tank or tank AD Nidalee. They might have. I mostly recall AP Nidalees from that era of League of Legends, but nowadays, since Tank AD Nidalee can sort of still be a thing, I know it got nerfed a while back. People can still sort of use it. If Tank AD Nidalee had access to the Innervating Locket, I'm pretty sure people would be playing Tank Nidalee again because it would be ridiculous. It's possible you might even get some of the modern manaless champions using it. I doubt it because it's such an investment to buy. Spend 2,250 gold, like it says here. As a first item or something, as a laning thing. But Rengar and Riven who spam abilities, maybe they'd get some kind of use out of it. Personally, I don't think I'd build it. There would be just better options to build this item on, so everyone would just probably be spamming champions that use these items and ignore manaless champions. But it's a thought. Zac might use it as well because he's already absurd to kill anyway. Imagine Zac who's healing 50 HP every single time, on top of what he gets back from picking up his blobs. He's healing extra every time he uses his W ability. That would be very aggravating to deal with. Who else is there? Sejuani is also a possibility. She has a 7 or 8 second flail. I think it was 7 or 8 seconds. Her flail ability, get any kind of CDR on her at all, you can probably be spamming your abilities effectively and just kind of never have this effect down. Yeah, Sejuani. I could see Sejuani's building it. She does have mana. She'd benefit from it. You might see Vlad's with it. I don't know. Tides of Blood would basically be free, but the thing is about Tides of Blood is it's free anyway if you get any kind of lifesteal. So I don't know. It's something to think about. I think it's a bit of a waste on Vlad. You probably would start seeing Skarners again if this item still existed, because his Crystal Slash is on a 3-second cooldown. So all you'd be doing is Crystal Slash, Crystal Slash, Crystal Slash all the time, and the cost would be free. So you never have to worry about any mana at all. And he's consistently healing himself what's going on. And on top of that, remember, this thing gives 10% cooldown already. So anything I've mentioned so far that says needs cooldown, get this item and a Spirit Visage, and you're already sitting at 30% cooldown just from this stuff. Now, Trundle existed, if I recall correctly, before this item was deleted. But he wasn't very popular. I think Trundle would have been really good with this item even back in the day. Maybe people were doing this and I just don't remember it. But I can see Trundle with his 4-second chomp just abusing this item very hard. Also, back in the day, he didn't have the 20% extra health regen thing from his Contaminate Aura. Way back in the day, gave him extra attack speed, and what was the other thing? It did attack speed, and it gave him tenacity. That's what it was. It was the tenacity was the difference. Voldibear, you might be seeing this item on. He does have 8-second Rolling Thunder, that charging thing he does. With CDR, you get it down to about 5 seconds, so it's not absolutely ideal, but, it's still something on him. And with his passive, he'd be very annoying to kill, I can see that. Warwick existed back in the day, and I'm sure Warwicks were building this item. Hungering Strike is 6 seconds innately. Any kind of CDR, you get it down to 4 point whatever seconds. The problem would be Warwick would still be useless, but at the very least you could build this on Warwick if you wanted. Maokai, you'd probably be seeing this on Maokai's. You might see a small return of Maokai. He has a 6-second Arcane Smash. Aside from all his other abilities, get any kind of CDR. Again, it's down to 4 point something. Arcane Smash, Arcane Smash. He's just, getting health back. Tanky Jarvans, which you see anyway, would most likely be building this item. That's sort of a no-brainer, I think. Tanky Zin. If you people made Tanky Zin, Zin would be even better with this item because Zins just love CDR anyway, and 3 Talon Strike comes with that innate CDR reduction thing that it does. So yeah, Zin would build this. I think I recall people building it back in the day on Zin. But Zin has gone through so many changes over the years and was basically a different champion back then. And of course there was that whole nightmare about release Zin and then his nerfs and blah blah blah. But we're going to finally get to the last champion here that I think it would be the absolute most ridiculous on. This champion would probably rival Udyr in his problematicness. I'm not going to go over it here because, Udyr was the original problem. Yeah, Yorick would be an absolute nightmare with this item on him. He'd just be dropping ghouls all the time. He'd never run out of mana without any mana items at all other than this thing. And he just continuously heal himself by dropping ghouls, and the ghouls would heal him, and I don't even want to think about that. Basically, every single top lane would be a Yorick versus something, and no. Yeah, thank God this item it no longer exists. But yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter. This has been me talking about and sort of theorizing about the implications of Innervating Locket, or had it still existed. See you guys around, and maybe I'll catch you guys in my stream or something. If you want to take a look at that, it's in the description below. Goodbye.